What's going on, guys? BossOP6 here, reaction another video, and today I'm here with another album review. This time I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and let's go into some death metal. We're going to do Carcass, Torn Arteries. This is the 7th full-length studio album by this band that formed in Liverpool, England in 1986. Their earlier stuff was more grindcore, kind of like Napalm Death. And then they went through some melodic death metal, a la Heartwork that came out in 93. And, they've been basically very influential to the death metal scene for the past, ever since they formed. Now, I have heard of Carcass, but I haven't heard of their albums. I heard a little bit of Heartwork, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. And I heard they made this album, like, you know what? I'm going to go in with an open mind. I'm not a death metal guy, even though I have been listening to some lately. I mean, I just listened to Cannibal Corpse's Violence Unimagined a couple weeks ago. And, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go in with open ears and keep an open mind, because I am very open to, some versions of metal, except slam metal, because that is bullshit. But I digress. The lineup consists of Jeff Walker on bass and vocal, Bill Sear, who was in Napalm Death for a little bit, and Tom Draper on guitar, and Daniel Wilding on drums. This album is very, I guess you could say it's more varied in some ways, because there's some elements that they kind of came out of their comfort zone. It's very groovy. This is Groove City. This album is very, very catchy, riff-driven, groovy as hell, and it kicks off with the title track. It's very, very thrashy. It's got giant hooks. Immediately, it caught my attention. Within 1 minute in, I immediately got into this album. If you can manage to do that, then you're off to the right start, unless the album kind of tails off towards the end there. But great stuff. Has a nice groove. This, and I would probably say maybe Kelly's Meat Emporium, which is a weird title within itself, is probably contender for my favorite track off of this album. Because this album from start to finish is fantastic. Guys, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to give, some fake suspense saying I think this album it's awesome. No, I'm just going to flat out say this is a great album. I have not listened to all their albums. I might have to now that I listened to this one. But holy crap, this album just ruled. You get some weird elements. It's got a big epic flesh-ripping Sonic Torment Limited. That's a title within itself. It's got a slower midsection, but it sounds so epic. It sounds like going off to war, and you're fighting off against the enemies, and you just have that flesh-ripping Sonic Torment. Another thing about Jeff Walker, his vocals sound like black metal in some ways. Literally, listen to this album. It doesn't sound like death metal. It sounds like black metal, but it's got death metal elements. It's kind of black and death in some ways. But holy lord, this album. It's also got some doomy elements, like Under the Scalpel Blade. It's kind of doomy in some ways, but it's very catchy. The bass tone is incredible on this album. Wake Up and Smell the Carcass / Caveat Emptor? I guess that's how you say it. That's a weird title within itself. I will admit, it's kind of goofy in some ways, but it's got a beautiful solo. Towards the end, it's got, I don't know, something kind of in the sense of maybe, I wouldn't say George Lynch-like, but probably in the sense of maybe Adrian Smith, maybe some Phil Campbell from Motorhead, or maybe some Glenn Tipton-esque from Judas Priest. I just kind of get that vibe off of it. Again, this album is very, very catchy. There's no bad track on this album. In God We Trust feels maybe the weakest on the album, but it's still a very good song. The Devil Rides Out. It's got a very cool lead. This one I kind of found interesting. Eleanor Rigor Mortis. I got some death vibes off of it. It kind of sounds like something off of the Sound of Perseverance album, their last album before Chuck Schuldner's passing. But God, geez, this album just, whoa! I might have to listen to this album again, guys. I'm not even gonna lie. This album is spectacular from start to finish. Great songwriting, great song structure, fantastic stuff. It gets a 9 out of 10 for me. Production is very, very good. I would like to hear the bass a little bit more, like a teeny bit more, but that's just a minor nitpick. Like the bass could have shown up a little bit more on this album, but that's just nothing. That's peanuts. Again, the snare doesn't bother me that much. Drums sound thunderous. The guitar tone it sounds polished, but it's still very, very clean and crisp. And Jeff Walker's vocals, you put this guy in a black metal, hold on, okay, there we go. I thought I had my shirt on backwards. If you put this guy in a black metal band, he would fit in perfectly. His vocals just sound immensely just kind of sludgy and kind of like evil in some ways. Like, yeah, he's got the death metal growls, but the croaks that he has is absolutely spectacular. I kind of get some Abath vibes from Mortal, or maybe some Pest from Gorgoroth in some ways. He's like, it's something like that. Ow, that hurts. God, how do black metal vocalists do that? It's like, it's like that. It's got that very hoarse rasp, but it's somewhat clean in some ways. It is just mind-boggling. So yeah, 9 out of 10. This album's kicks so much ass. It's not getting a 10 out of 10 only because it has to grow on me a little bit more. Honestly, you know what? Screw it. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Screw it. 9.5 out of 10. It's a kick-ass album. I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal. Again, great songwriting. I think Daniel Wilding, probably wrote this album. And if he did, that guy's a great songwriter. So yeah, 9 out of 10, great stuff. I'm very eager to see what these guys do in the future. This was recorded from 2019 to 2020, but they were going to release it, but the pandemic hit, so they just held off on that. So yeah, guys, that's all I gotta say about this. What did you guys think about this album down below? Again, comment what you guys thought about this album. Are you guys a big Carcass fan? And if you guys are, let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Join the herd. All hail Carcass. I'll talk to you guys next video. Peace out.